Hi folks, how you doing? It's Mitch from Hard Intentions YouTube channel, and we also have hardintentions.com where you can get all your hard gear, shirts, so on and so forth, and also prints of my art. So check it out. We have a few masks left, also for you guys who live in California. Mando masks in public. So yeah, I went in the gas station this morning, and the lady told everybody, "Hey, no, if you come in here tomorrow, you have to wear your mask or you won't be allowed in, state law or some crazy stuff." So we got a few masks left, and
don't forget Teespring.
yeah, oh yeah,
New mask on
we're
that.
gonna have some masks on our Teespring, 6 feet lame masks. Yeah, and soon we'll have backup lame.
Louis working on
Yeah,
it.
Louis working on that for us. So anyway, last time I left off, I was at CMC West. I drove up there. It was a miserable shithole. But, I did have a couple good homeboys there. And they were youngsters. It was pretty cool. Some of the native guys there, Native Americans, are pretty cool cats. And we used to run around with them a little bit, my little homeboy Lucas, and I had a homeboy there, JD, or JR, excuse me. He was my bunkie. I had a little tattoo work on him, and for the most part, though, I just focused on my artwork, There was a guy there, he was a South Sider. He's actually from Mexico, but he was a South Sider. And, he's out now, Wedo. And, things are kind of fucked up when a white dude's on a yard and a guy he prefers to walk laps with, not all the time, but a lot of the time, like when people are at work and shit. And I had a job where I just go check in, hey, I'm here, and I'd split, and I could go walk laps, and I could go do my artwork, or I could go take a fucking nap or whatever. But when I used to walk laps, during the day when everyone was gone, I used to walk laps at Wedo, and he's a pretty cool dude. He was alive for been down quite a while. That's how shitty that pen is. This dude had a cell phone for like 2 years. Yeah, he used to call his old lady, call his family, low key. He wasn't into the drug business or illegal game at all. He was into artwork. He did a little artwork, and he got some of my art supplies one time from me that I wanted to kind of switch up what I was doing. So he bought some of my art supplies from me. I used to walk track with him all the time. He used to tell me, "Hey, Smiley, you know how chicken shit this place is? I had a cell phone here for 2 years." And he worked in the program office, He was the guy at the front door if you needed to see your counselor. He was like a runner, basically. He'd run paperwork around different places. And, yeah, he worked in there for 2 years, low key, and all of a sudden one day the squad just came up to him and said, "All right, let's have that cell phone." And he had it in a little sack he sewed in the front of his pants, and there it was. They pointed to it, said, "Take it out, let's have it." So, here's a guy that was using his cell phone for personal business, contact his family and friends, and low key, somebody caught it and snitched on him, That's a kind of main line. That's a mainline yard, level 2. And so on one hand, I never met uh, such hard politickers as I have on that yard. Level 2 killers. Ain't none of these fucking dudes politicking on the yard been in a level 3 or level 4 prison. None of them have ever done more than a few years at a time. And I got the yard, and I always, just kind of laugh at that shit now. I mean, I was at the point in my life where I just thought that shit was funny. And the big removal game was real big there. And they would send a couple dudes after somebody and remove them. And that was the deal. So what they do is they'll go jump on you in front of the cops, beat you up a little bit, and then the cops see it, and then you're off the yard. Whether you guilty of whatever accusation or whatever problem, it's usually because the shot caller don't like you. In some cases, it's for real. A guy has it coming. But a lot of times, it's just bullshit, smut game. somebody doesn't like what someone's doing, and that's how it is. Um, it was a scandalous yard. I mean, it was. I lived in a 90-man dorm. I couldn't get to a 45-man dorm, and and I was in the asshole dorm, and I couldn't get out of the asshole dorm. Um, the building cop was a motorcycle rider and shit, and so he moved me off when the bunk come open in the corner, up front corner. It's nice to have a corner bunk, so you only got one neighbor instead of when you have a bunk, you got two guys next to you and bunk, it kind of sucks. So I had the wall on one side and the neighbor. We had a big driveway, and it was an older black cat was my neighbor. I could communicate with, and we watch each other's stuff. And living in a dorm really sucked. And I had one homeboy there named Ricky. He pulled up, and he's a motorcycle rider, and his dad's in a motorcycle club. His dad was the president of a club, and Ricky was all right kid. He was never been to prison. He was a stand-up kid, but he's not really. I don't want to say slow because I don't want to insult him, but he just didn't catch a lot of how things worked, and so these dudes make him put in some work, and I, despite me telling him, hey, fuck these dudes, he bit into it, what happened was this guy that I spoke on previously, he said, he had a problem with some guy that was in the hole, and I told him, hey, that guy's coming back to the yard, and he wanted to get youngsters to handle it. And I told him, hey, dude, I heard you say personally, that you would deal with that guy if he came back to the yard. And then all of a sudden, the guy didn't come back to the yard. But so this dude he walked over. That's like a big park, all the front doors are open, you can walk around. So he walked from one building to another building and then back to his building. And there was cops in the next building over looking out the window watching him. And so when he got back to his building, he walked over, and he got back over there, they rushed him. And they busted him with some drugs, and he went to the hole. And he got out of the hole and he came back. And supposedly he told the cops that he was just running an errand for so-and-so. And the guy he mentioned was Paisa, Mexican from Mexico. And so this was on paper. So I didn't like the guy anyway. So the guy comes back to the yard. And so now these dudes are saying, yeah, this dude's a rat. He made a statement, and he implicated this Paisa. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm not involved with drugs, and I'm not involved with yard politics, so I don't give a fuck. I didn't like the dude. I didn't like the way he carried himself. I didn't like the way he cock-blocked me out of a job in a plumbing shop. And so, I just kicked back. And then next thing I know, my little homeboy and some other kid jumped on this guy. My homeboy hit the dude and knocked him out, and then they beat him up. They removed him off the yard. But I guess when he came to, they took him to sick call, and I guess he shit his pants when he was knocked out, because when they stripped him out in the infirmary on the way to when you go to the hole, they strip you out in the infirmary and check you out and see if you got any marks on you. I guess he had shit his pants. Told the cop, hey, I need some new underwear. So my little homeboy went to the hole for that and came out. That was his thing. Don't make me, I'll make you shit your pants. That was his little thing. I said, hey, fool, you got lucky. You sucker punched that guy, knocked him out, But I told him, look, man, these guys tell you what to do. Fuck them. You don't do what these guys say. You're from San Diego and you're a biker. So, fuck what these guys got going on. And he was like, well, these guys, shot callers on the yard or whatever. And I said, hey, man, fuck these dudes. And he had a problem with somebody. And they were kind of making him, he lived in another building. And they were trying to make him, like, not fuck with this guy he had a problem with. So I told him, look, homeboy, you don't need to ask permission to take off on this guy. You know, you can do whatever you want. I said, if you want to fuck this dude up, you know, you're from San Diego. You're a biker. I said, you want to fuck that dude up, you go fuck that dude up. You don't need to ask permission. You know, fuck them dudes. So, really? I said, yeah. I said, I got your back, no trip. So the next day, you know, this dude comes out the yard and he goes, you know, man, bikers don't run nothing in prison. I just smiled. I said, yeah, sure. I got you. But what he didn't know was that I had 2 pieces on the yard. I was so frustrated. I mean, on one hand, I was trying to get out of prison. I was seeing guys go home. But I was living around some really scumbag fucking people. These are like guys that get chicken shit crimes, 2 years, 3 years, low level fucking dope fiend ass shit. And then they come, you know, they're the same guys that are living in them homeless camps down there. And in prison, they're about something. Then they come out here and they're running around on, you know, they're spray can gangsters, riding 10 speeds and living in homeless camps. And that, you know, if you're gonna live in a homeless camp, you know, whatever. But when you go to prison, don't try to be that guy. But that's the kind of dudes these are. And, you know, scumbags. To me, they're scumbags. And I don't give a fuck what race they are. Matter of fact, it was all races. Because I had black dudes tell me the same shit, and I had white tell me the same shit. Hey, these guys are fucking trash, you know? So, anyway, the guy asked me, hey, man, you know, did you tell your homeboy? I said, yeah. I said, man, I told him, man, he can make up his own mind and do what he wants. He doesn't need to ask you guys no fucking permission to jump on somebody, you know? And then he goes, well, you know, bikers don't run nothing in prison. I said, yeah, you know, I got you. But what he didn't know is my other homeboy worked in a plumbing shop had brought me a couple pieces on the yard. And I had 2 pieces on that yard that were, you know, bone crushers. And actually one of them was a pipe because he was a plumber. I had a 1/2-inch pipe, 3/4 pipe, and the end of it was cut like a syringe. And so, you know, you basically stick it in somebody and drain them out. You know, and I was frustrated. I hated that fucking prison. You know, that same dude used to talk smack all the time, and then this old boy from San Luis Obispo finally got in his face and just was yelling at him, told him, do something, motherfucker, do something. You know, the guy didn't do shit. So, I mean, that's the kind of guys you got in level 2. I mean, they act like they know hardcore prison gangsters from the shoe, and they can just get on the fucking cell phone and call them. And they don't know anybody. And they don't know how to run a fucking yard. So I hated them, you know. And that's the yard where this kid, man, they come around. They come to the dorm, you know. I'm like, what's going on? They're at the front door, and they go, oh, so-and-so owes some money. This little white kid, man, from Orange County, surfer kid. He was buying all these guys weed, and he's smoking weed, and these guys got him buying, you know, other drugs for them, you know, and because he's Mr. Moneybags. And, you know, what happens with Mr. Moneybags is they usually pay their debts for a while, and then they stop paying their debts, and then they lock up. That's usually how it works. So they come around, they're all, yeah, we're taking donations, you know, to pay this guy's debts. And I said, how much money does he owe? And he owed, you know, quite a bit of money. And I told him, well, you know, I don't pay other people's debts. I don't pay dope fiends' debts. I said, if you guys go stab that dude for not paying his fucking debts, I'll pay his whole debt if you go stab him. And they're like, man, you're fucking crazy. They thought I was out of line for saying that. But, you know, I was serious. You know, I felt like the kid needed to be taught a lesson, you know. And so anyway, later on, that kid borrowed I used to sell candy bars. Because remember, I went from selling tobacco for stamps in San Quentin. So I knew stamps had some value. So I would get a quarterly package, and I would just get like 30 pounds of candy bars, and I would sell the candy bars for stamps, send the stamps home for money, sell them for money on the street. So the kid borrowed a few books of stamps from me, and he was late. And I remember I was walking the track with 3 of my homeboys, man, and I seen this kid. And I just had enough, I'm tired of waiting. So I told him, hey man, but I was on him, and I said, when the fuck you gonna pay me my stamps? And he also owed my little homeboy Ricky, and he says, oh, I can do this. I said, look, dude, you borrowed stamps from me, and I told you I want fucking stamps back, because I send the stamps home and get paid, right? I don't want no fucking prison money. So, the dog's up on there going by the skillet. Hey, get off there. Yeah, she's up by the skillet smelling them hamburgers. So anyway, I'm walking down the hill, and I see this kid, and I'm on him. I'm telling him, look, I want my fucking stamps. I don't want no yard ducats. I don't want, I want my fucking stamps. And I'm telling him, and if you don't fucking pay me, I'm gonna kick your fucking teeth down your throat, you motherfucker. And I'm gonna take them glasses you got. He had a really nice pair of glasses. I'm gonna take them fucking glasses you got, you fucking punk. And the kid got a little scared. And one of these shot collar guys that this kid's buying drugs for, saw that, So we start walking the track, and my homeboy's like, hey, chill out, bro, it's all good, And we get this kind of hill goes up, here comes this guy. He goes, hey, Smiley, man, you got, I go, what's up? And before he could get up on us, he just wanted to talk to me and ask me what's up. My little homeboy JR put his fists up. He told him, what do you want with my homeboy? And he goes, oh no, it's not like that. Now, little homeboy JR had already beat a guy up my size, and JR is only about 5'5", 5'6". We'll get to that later, but he had beat this guy down pretty bad, and so this guy's like, oh, it's not like that, and he's like, what the fuck you want, So the guy wanted to ask me about what's up with this kid. I go, look, man. The dude owes me some books of stamps, and he owes my homeboy some money. And I don't give a fuck if he owes me a nickel. If you owe me a fucking nickel, and you tell me you're going to pay me on a certain date, and you don't pay me, I'm going to get fucking mad. And I want to get paid. I want my fucking stamps, And, he just, he tried to whitewash it like, he's white and all this shit. And I said, I don't give a fuck, dude. That's bad business. And, I'm not a fucking dope fiend. I'm not a drug dealer. Motherfucker come and ask me to borrow some stamps, he's gonna pay me, or he's gonna get fucked up. And so the guy split, and then about a half hour later, here come this motherfucker with a bunch of yard ducats. He goes, man, I can't get any stamps, but here, and he gave me like twice what he owed me in ducats, and then he paid my homeboy Ricky, and Ricky's a kid. I said, hey, you want to fuck someone up, you go fuck him up. You don't need to ask permission, We're in a level 2 punk ass yard, But he paid Ricky, and Ricky was like, wow, he was all happy he got paid. But that's the kind of fucking joint it is. It was a shitty little fucking. It's a prison, man, where everyone could have had fun, kicked back, had a great time, make some money. They had a hobby, where I could do my art, and visiting room was wide open. But instead, they wanted to turn it into fucking big time politic yard, And these are lames that don't even know what politics are. It was a bizarre fucking situation. It was like living in Bizarro world. Excuse me. So yeah, my little homeboy, he had some medical facilities. So had guys there with AIDS, HIV and all that kind of stuff, and so this dude, he was my size. He used to work out all the time. He had HIV, and he was always talking shit about people, always. And my little homeboy, he grew up in the hood down in San Diego, but he's white, and straight up, and he's tough. This guy would always talk shit about him, and my homeboy told him, hey man, next time I catch you talking shit about me, I'm gonna fuck you up. And I would hear the dude on the yard talking out the side of his neck as I walked by or whatever. And I just go, all right, I never said nothing because I want to instigate shit, The dude's my cellie, and if he gets too far, out of line, gets busted, they're gonna put, they're gonna blame me like I put him up to it. But one day he came back from this program he was in, And he came in, he was just mad as fuck. And he goes, give me your fucking gloves. Give me your gloves. I had a pair of leather gloves. I go, what's up, bro? He goes, I'm gonna fuck this dude up. And like I said, this dude's like 5'6", if anything, right? And so he puts my gloves on, and he goes down there. He says, hey, Mark. And bam! And he hit that dude once and knocked him down, man. And fucking broke his lip wide open. He might have hit him a couple times, because I think he broke his nose, busted his lip out, and the dude went down. He kicked him a couple times, and then he was telling him, get up, you know, let's finish this shit. And the guy just laid there on the ground. You know, big fucking bully, tough guy, always complaining, always talking shit about people, you know, laying on the ground, wouldn't get up and fight this dude who's a foot fucking shorter than him, right? And so Homeboy starts spitting on him and kicking him in the face. Tell him, get the fuck up, you know. Finally, I tell him, hey, brother, that's it's all good, you know. And so the dude, you know, Homeboy had no marks on him, no on his hands, nothing. So the next day, they saw the dude out at the laundry. They have a clothesline, you know, the square thing in front of, outside of each building. Guys out there hanging. But he's like hanging his clothes. He's looking, as the cops are walking by, he's looking at him. And they see this dude's all fucked up, man. So they're like, hey, come here, man. They roll him up, send him over to the East Yard, and he paroled from the hole over there, B Yard, one of them yards, you know. So yeah, that's how that fucking joint was, man. It was a fucked up place, you know. I met some decent people there, man. A couple of good homeboys, but the program just sucked, you know. I mean, you couldn't just kick back and just, you know, just kick back. You couldn't just kick back and do your fucking time, man. There's always some drama going on by some guy who's going home in 6 months, you know. And I hated it, dude. And so one time they had this big tall dude who came from the East Yard but never told nobody, and nobody, that was supposed to be a place you weren't staying. He was always talking smack about guys who come from over there, you know. But anyway, yeah, you know, some shit happened between the races, you know. And so this guy's passing word around the dorm, hey man, if shit jumps off, this is what we're gonna do. And the next day, I went out and told the white dudes, hey man, you know, this dude ain't running our fucking program. You know, these dudes don't run our program for the whites. And they're like, yeah. I said, well, he said this, you know. And so, you know, I told these youngsters, look, I got your back. I'll be right there with you. But, you know, what do you want to do? They're like, yeah, fuck that dude. He don't run our fucking program. If there's a problem between these two other races, you know, that's between them. It has nothing to do with the whites. And, you know, because this guy wants drugs and all this, she's involved with the mix, with the drugs, see? So he wants the white dudes to basically to help certain group of people against another group of people. And I'm like, you know, that's not white business, you know? And that dude doesn't run the white car. He's part of a separate deal, you know? And so they're like, yeah, fuck that. I said, well, you know, you guys got to stand up, man, and do something, you know. And I, like I said, I got your back. I'll be there with you. But it's your turn to step up, you know. And they went in the dorm, called the dude out, and told him, hey, you don't run the fucking white car. You know, you don't tell us what the fuck to do, who the fuck we're gonna back up, and who the fuck we're not gonna back up, and we're not doing that, and you don't run us. And that dude, once again, you know, he got fucking mad as fuck, and he just kind of looked at me like, yeah, you know, like he knew I put them dudes up to that shit, but you know, it's the right thing. And I was proud of them youngsters for standing up to this dude and basically his little crew, and telling them, man, you don't fucking run us, you know. You don't tell us what the fuck to do. There's a lot of good youngsters in prison, man. All they need is a little nudge to send them in the right direction, you know. And I was proud to be around some of them kids, man. But yeah, that place. There was another incident. Um, there was a dude there that he, you know, at one point I think a couple ounces of speed came in that place, and it was supposed to be divided up. You know, I don't know the whole deal. One guy's bringing it in for somebody else from another race, and then he gave it to somebody on another yard who was supposed to send it to somebody to get to another yard to him and get cut up. And, you know, by the time he got it, I think he had an eighth of an ounce by the time it went through everybody's hands. So went from 2 ounces down to an eighth of an ounce. And all these guys involved were all scrambling to try to figure out, you know, how they could not get blamed for this guy getting fucked. And the bottom line is, it wasn't his shit. I think it was the Pisces. He was doing it for them, and so you can imagine the cross that it put this kid in. You know, they don't give a fuck about, you know, him making a bad decision, trying to get his homeboy to mule the shit from one spot to another, and then, you know, 4 or 5 dudes getting involved and pinching it, and you know, mind you, I hadn't used any drugs since 1998, and this is like 2016, 15, 2015. So, you know, I'm out of the mix, but I see it going on, and I see the whole fucking yard. You know, you figure, I don't know, they got 700, 800 guys in the yard. They got 10 buildings, 90 guys, you know. So anyway, you know, and some of the dorms are 45-man dorms. So there's like 700, 800 guys. And all these dudes are just spun the fuck out. I mean, dudes are stepping outside of the dorm in the light, you know, a night yard with the light of the moon, you know, shooting up outside. And dude, it was crazy. People weren't sleeping. And I'm gonna tell you, man, that dude that the youngsters told wasn't running the yard, I was so fucking frustrated. He was right there in the mix. Dude, I had a huge, I had visions, you know, of going down in the middle of the night and just dive bombing into his bunk and just, you know, poking a few holes in his neck while he was sleeping, and, you know, walk on down to the bathroom and clean up. But I was frustrated, angry, mad at the fucking disrespect and the shit, you know, just the level of stress in a bullshit ass level 2 prison just had me so fucked up. I was miserable there. I hated it. But so what happens in a situation like this is you had probably 4 or 5 dudes who were guilty of you know, pinching this guy's dope sack. Well, one of them was the last guy in the chain that took it over to another yard. And so all the focus, and people didn't really like this guy. And I liked him. He was a biker, you know. But he was a, you know, a drug addict too. And he was from Fresno, but he was a biker dude. And he, you know, I don't use. And this guy had a job as a plumber and shit, and I used to bullshit with him, and, you know, how you doing? Talk about motorcycles and whatnot. And yeah, I kind of liked him because he was just like, you know, hey, fuck everybody. I'm doing my own thing. You don't like it, fuck you. So basically, they didn't like him, and so they focused all the guilt they tried to toss on this dude. And so, you know, I'm hearing it, and I'm just smiling, going about my business, you know. But I hear all the scuttlebutt about this. You know, they're gonna get him, and so they go in the dorm, you know, during chow. And he's in the bathroom, you know, smoking a cigarette and probably going to the hoop with shit. And so he comes out, walks down the dorm. The dorm has an aisle there and bunks, you know, going down the line. So he's in his bed area, and them dudes, you know, run up like they're gonna get him, and he just got off. And he, you know, he fucked this dude up, and the dude that was supposed to be in there to get him, he fucked the dude up pretty bad. And you know, they sprayed the shit out of the dorm, and you know, as they were taking him out, he told the guy's partner, "Hey, you're next, bitch." You know what I mean? And so they took him over to the hole, and he stayed over in the East Yard as a plumber for the rest of his term, and he paroled from over there. But I just thought that was funny as hell, because all these dudes were talking about stabbing him, doing all this crazy shit to him, and before they could bust a grape, he got off on them. I just thought that was funny shit. So that's the kind of joint it was. It was a knick-knack, two-bit ass pen with a few good dudes here and there. But that's how it ran. I mean, it just ran like fucking, it was a bozo pen, man. Guys thinking they're running something, and now they did have 3 yards there, and so one of the yards was older dudes. I couldn't get to that yard. They had a friend of mine, Butch, who's got out finally, thank God. He's an older man on that other yard, like I say, he was in his 70s. So it's just I was stuck in an asshole yard full of stupid people, man, and I didn't dig it. And we'll get to the rest of that story next time. Thank you, folks, for watching. Thank you very much.